Hey guys, welcome back to the Mind Body Broadcast with Austin and Marty. And today we are we're going to do something we're going to do something completely new. Our podcast has been very much positive, and not that this is going to be negative, but very much positive and reserved. We don't
Reserved, definitely.
Right. Marty and I don't tend to rant or do any things like that. It's mostly purely educational, but with so much craziness going on right now and just all kinds of different stuff going on, we thought we would talk about things that grind our gears. Now we're not going to talk about
grinds our
yes.
gears.
And that actually came from Family Guy, didn't it?
100%.
Yeah. Okay. I thought so. I was like, I thought it did. So not political stuff. So we're not going to discuss any of the current political, racial, or otherwise climate at the moment.
No, but it definitely did spark kind of what we're going into here there. Just because everyone is so polarized right now, right?
Right. Yeah. Because I know, like you and I off air, we chat about stuff a little bit, but frankly, I'm very. I try to be like a really logical person when I make decisions and when I analyze anything.
Yeah, analytical and logical. That's right.
Whether that's like a political stance or anything else, or even just like even a coaching situation, because it's, we were talking about client stuff, like things that we like we get approached with, like client inquiries and red flags and things like that. And sometimes it's hard not to be emotional and get pissed off about stuff. And, so we don't want to make it about anything too sensitive, but there are some like, I don't even know if I would call them bizarre, because I think people jump on any opportunity to sensationalize themselves or just draw attention to themselves.
Yes.
So like you mentioned, and this is one that I see a lot, and it's not just right now, it's with any type of current events. I'll just say current events, because that's essentially what stuff's going on.
I like that.
These individuals that promote themselves on social media for their fitness businesses. So they do whatever kind of content or they post client photos or whatever it is, but they also use that same social media as like a platform for their political voice. And that's like all they go off on tangents. And to me, and hey, if you want to do that, it's your social media. I can't tell you what to do. To me, I think it looks really bad from a business standpoint.
It is, especially, and then that was the biggest thing about that is I really don't even mind too much if they start ranting on it, and I'll just gloss over, especially if it's someone that I know. Let's say it's you and you really care about. Okay, cool. But now the moment you try to take that situation that's either bad, whoever's terms is bad, or impactful, and then they use some that to swindle people into thinking they need their services. Oh, buddy, that's what I'm talking about, right? That's what grinds my gears. Is I can't do it when it's if someone's trying to take Trump election, but to make, and all of a sudden now they're polarizing them and saying like, if you vote for Trump, then you need to coach with me, kind of thing, or anything that's even remotely close. Are you kidding me? Or they're hashtagging something like that can potentially turn people that weren't looking for, let's say, fitness business, whatever, or fitness anything, and now they are. That's terrible. That I just call that dirtbag or marketing, anything along those lines. I just can't really do that.
Right. And people do that too. So, for example,
all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
If you have somebody that's, so maybe like the whole race situation right now, if someone was affected by it and they're talking about it on their social media, like what their experience is and stuff, that's cool, right? They've have experience, they have something to talk about. And then you have the other person that rants about it to beat the Facebook algorithm.
That's
and,
right.
That's right. And just like get a bunch of views, and they really don't. I mean, hey, and everyone can have an opinion. That's like saying that's like, and I've gotten this one before. That's like saying I can't have an opinion about kids because I don't have any kids.
Right. Right.
Right. So, which I don't necessarily agree with that, but to your point, yeah, people will draw attention to themselves this way. And you're right. And I don't even know if people think about this so much when they make these posts, but I'm always thinking about this. So I'm thinking like, I see my clients on Facebook or Instagram, and some people have like very, very different views. I have some clients that have like some very extreme views on one side or the other.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
I'm thinking,
Yeah.
well, what would it look like if I went on there and argued with them, or if I posted something completely opposite and they saw it? Would they think differently of me?
That's right.
You know, and I'm like, well, how do we, our relationship's good. We don't have any problems. We get along as a client coach relationship. We do a good job, so on and so forth. So what good would it do me to disrupt that by doing like, putting my opinion out there on certain things?
Yeah.
And if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But I can tell you that it does, whether it's consciously or not, maybe it's like a subconscious thing and people don't think about it, but that does affect who you attract. Maybe it'll help,
Oh,
or
I think
maybe
it's
it'll hurt.
conscious. I think it's conscious, Austin,
You think?
because
I mean,
because
sometimes.
I know there's people that will actually say, okay, cool. Here is like, let's go. I'll pick one hilarious one. The Janet Jackson and was it Justin Timberlake nipple slip of however long ago at the Super Bowl. Let's pick a hilarious one like that. Perfect, right? Like, oh my God, that happened. Was it supposed to happen? Was it wasn't supposed to? And someone starts talking about that and they don't even care about it. This is what drives me crazy.
Right.
Or grinds my gears big time, is that they don't even know anything about that, but they use that, like you said, to beat the algorithm, to purposely say, by the way, if you're interested in fitness coaching, or by the way, you're interested in personal training, that's what I can't stand. That's how, like, come on now, that's taking advantage of a situation in the wrong way to me. Like that's not what to do. That's not, you don't even care about it. That's ruthless. That's not what people should be doing. So yeah, if they're going out there like you're thinking and they're not really trying to do what I just said and they're just jumping in there and giving their political opinions, it's especially political opinions, it's that's going to have, you might be crossing a barrier of client to coach relationship. What do you think?
Yeah. And again, like I said, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But it's kind of like, I'll give you a different example. So our businesses are online. So maybe we have a web page, but even with a web pages is kind of like a landing space people will go to, right?
Yep.
That's not really where we draw most of our attention. Most of our attention is maybe from like a podcast like this, for example, if that's
we're not active on the website,
right?
Like we're not there all day. Yes.
So maybe it's a podcast. Maybe people do YouTube. Maybe they like Instagram. Maybe they whatever it is. So it would be similar to someone's business going out and like they have a business, like let's say they have like a shop and they sell
who cares?
they sell like power tools. All right.
Yeah.
They sell power tools in their shop, and you get on the road and they have a bunch of signs on their window that's like they're like very pro, like, yeah, we like abortions, or we hate this, or like, like fucking like all these hot button topics, right? And they have it posted all over the front of their window. Well, duh, that's going to influence who goes into their store.
Yes, it is.
Like, Jill that doesn't agree with, pro-choice or whatever you want to call it, she's not going to go in and buy the fucking, nail and like hammer and nails. Like, she's just not going to go in the store. She's going to go somewhere else. So
exactly.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. And I just don't know. Like you said, some people probably do think about it and they do it on purpose. And then others, maybe they do it. They don't do it on purpose. And they don't really think about it. They don't really think about it in that way. But it is very much that way. I
Yeah.
guess is my
The
point.
the way to polarize, and of course, damn it, I'm already going to make this informative of this, but the way to polarize properly, I think, is pick things that if people don't agree with you, they're not going to get pissed off about it. For instance, I like Skittles. If you really don't like Skittles as like a candy, you're probably not going to hate me because I don't like Skittles. You're just not going to think anything of it. But if you also like Skittles, you'll be like, oh, cool. So that's, you're going to align yourself with me on that. But for the longest time too, it's still to this day, I love doing wacky things with my hair. I always have done wacky things with my hair. So then, therefore, if you thought like wacky hair was cool, then you probably would like me a little bit better. But if you didn't like wacky hair, then you probably just didn't think anything of it. But
Right.
however, if I'm going to go put up, like you said, about pro-choice, and I'm going to very aggressively say my opinions on abortion, you are probably going to, if you were thinking about hiring a coach, probably not going to hire me if I am going the different opinion of yours. So
Right.
yes, it's called polarizing, and there's a completely different way to do it than that. Yeah,
Yeah.
period. You know what? I'm going to take it. I was just, when I was rambling on there, thought about something that really pisses me off, and I'll say definitely about
Love it. Let's hear it.
it's when male coaches use their, I don't know, helpingness or their assistance, whatever you want to call it, to get girls. If you know what I'm saying, between saying that they want to send me a progress picture, or you can use a little, there's too much clothing in that progress picture, you should send me something less. Now you know where I'm going with this. You've
Um,
heard of this, right? And I
oh
remember
yeah,
seeing
dude,
so many times online, Austin. I think Shelby Starnes and a couple other people brought this one up, but it was like some people were literally asking their clients, saying, I need to see you naked with no clothes on to make sure we see muscle separation or fat loss or whatever. I said, are you fucking kidding me?
yeah, and they're not naked on stage. Sorry.
Yeah,
I mean,
because obviously we need to see the nakedness. Oh, yeah. What
and
do you think about that one?
oh, dude, and it's like
God. Ugh.
it's kind of like
Ah.
when people, because I've heard this too. I've heard a few people say they've had like all these situations with the opposite sex when they're coaching, with sending like inappropriate progress pictures and stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I've been doing this quite a while, and I can't think of a time where I ever really had a problem.
Yep. That's
And
right.
secondly, it's kind of like people that have bad experiences over and over and over again. Well, it's probably you're probably bringing it on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got girls sending you, if you're a male coach and you have female clients sending you all this shit, you probably instigated it.
Yeah.
And
I'm yes, exactly. If yeah, keep going.
so, yeah, no, I agree. I mean, there's like, I don't know. It's one of those things where we, I don't know how to put it. We're in an industry with a lot of sex appeal,
Of
right?
course.
The whole industry. I mean, it's funny because I joke, like I have a couple people that I know, like my parents or just a couple other people that I know. I don't talk to that many people. I'm a loner, but
Yep.
um,
I get it.
but other
I'm with you,
people that
buddy.
are like other people that are outside of the bodybuilding world. And it's funny because they'll see you have like a celebrity who's like magazines and things, and they'll have sexiest man alive and things like that. I'm like, shit. I'm
Yep.
like, you go to any freaking bodybuilding show on a weekend and you're gonna see like all of these upper 1% of people.
Yep.
And
Yep.
yeah, granted the girl might have an eating disorder and be I'm just it might not be the best thing in the world, but my point is that you see like on these fitness magazines, you got the male celebrity has like two of his top abs,
I
and he's
know.
talking about and he's
Yeah.
talking about like his routine, and I'm thinking, shit,
Yeah.
that's like a
I
fat
know.
off season for me.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know
That's a fat off season. Yeah,
and
that stuff's funny.
so yeah, like this whole industry is, you're um, basically just dealing with like this upper echelon of physiques, especially if it's competitors. So of course that stuff goes on. And I mean, even if you're a single person, like you're not in a relationship or you're not married or
Right.
whatever, it's still not appropriate. Like, look, I know that
I agree.
I know that people meet each other through this. Like, it does happen. Like, there's clients and coaches that have probably met each other. They probably gotten to like each other, and they've probably made it work
Sure.
pretty well, right?
Yep.
It's definitely happened. But I'd like to think that they maybe met each other in a personal setting, one-on-one, and then
Right.
they build it from there. It wasn't like they were fucking like sexting progress photos all the
Yeah. No.
time,
No shit. Right.
you
Yeah.
know, and maybe they actually had like a normal person type of relationship. But, beyond that, it's just not, I don't know.
Well, the one that makes me the most mad is because male coaches with female clients, they if the female has never been in that great a shape, they're going to associate these great feelings and these great emotions with the guy, saying, "Oh my gosh, he helped me get into this shape." And then, of course, when food is running low and resources are not there, there's a potential there to be taken advantage of. Not saying it can't be from a female coach to guy clients either.
Sure.
That's definitely something that could be happening there. It's just I've
No.
seen it more from male coaches to female clients, and yeah, and to me and it happens and it sucks. I've seen it, or they're the promises of like, yeah, like, you'll get first place, or they get special treatment or something, and then let's say they either, like, let's go even more extreme, and then after the show, and then they do a rebound, they do a binge, and they don't look good anymore, and now the client's kind of pushed away, like, whoa. Or even more so, let's say there's some kind of sexual advance by the male coach to a female client, and the female client says no, and then they drop the client. Wow. And that has happened. I have seen that happen, and that's the stuff that kind of drives me crazy. So that's the one I had to get out of the way.
That's a
Sure,
good one.
sure.
No,
Yeah, man.
that's a good one. And it happens.
Too
Well,
much.
it shouldn't happen at all,
Yep.
but it happens way more than it definitely should. And I'm sitting here while you're talking, I'm sitting here thinking of another one. So I had one that you'll like this.
Uh-oh.
And this was because, and I see this stuff all the time, but situations where people are having, like, they have a bad contest prep, or they have some kind of health issue or something going on, and they don't want to. I literally just had this the other day. So I had a girl. I don't know if she listens or not, but
Yeah.
I won't say her name. But she basically had a coach. They had prepped multiple times. It basically accumulated to where her body was very stressed out. It was
Sure.
not responding because she didn't have sufficient rest, so on and so forth. The usual stuff.
I can say, sadly, it's a
Right.
classic story, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Usual stuff. So she did not want, she's like, I really don't know if I should do this show this year that we talked about doing, because I'm just not responding. It's like, I feel terrible, and I still have 5 months to the show, and blah, 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 blah. And you're weak, right? That's the response that she got. You're weak.
Wow.
Basically. And I'm summing it up. I wasn't like reading their emails or anything,
Sure.
But essentially that's what it boils down to.
That was the gist of it. Yeah.
And I've seen it, and I've seen it happen multiple times. And unfortunately, what's even worse is that sometimes the clients will believe that. And they're like,
man,
they're
you're
like,
darn right they do.
Maybe I am just being weak and I just need to press on. And then, of course, they dig themselves into this hole that's so daunting to get out of. And yeah, of course, there are situations where you're going to feel like crap, and you're going to be run down and tired and all that. And it does happen, but there's a point where you shouldn't be like in your off season eating regular amount of food or whatever and just feeling like garbage. Like, it's just not
correct.
You should not feel like that. And the fact is, if you never feel normal and you always feel like crap, you're not normal. So, yeah, I mean, if you have anyone telling you that, that's a huge red flag.
Oh, it goes so much bigger than that. It goes all the way from like being shamed, like as in, let's say you screw up on your screw up on your meal plan, or and all of a sudden they're like, "How dare you? You're a piece of crap," or like any kind of name calling, any kind of anything, even being called weak. That's being called a name. You are weak, and it's terrible Like, and I see this. There's quite a few coaches that I know within my space that do that. They will demean their clients. They will shame their clients, guilt their clients into doing. And to me, the moment you do that, it's the trust is gone. Right. And then do you think really that if someone says to you, and it has right on my assessments, did you mess up this week? Basically in a much better version of that, or what was off, I think is what I say. And they say, yeah, well, I went out and had a burger and fries with my friends on Friday. And if I was to say, you effing idiot, you stupid, you messed it up. Like, wow. Okay. And that's supposed to get me more, allegiance or more them going towards what I want them to do. Like, are you kidding me? But this happens, and you'll see that shame, and then apparently, and then I think it's almost to the point like a dog. I guess like we'll say like the really terrible people that will beat the crap out of their dogs to try to make them do what they want, or there's people that beat the crap out of their kids when they're wrong. It's the verbal abuse is what is it trying to make them so that they'll won't do it again next time. Like that's not how to do it. You want to get to the I'm not going to go into how you should coach or anything here, but that is not the way you should coach. Like, and I see it, and it's terrible. It's like I wrote a post a while ago on Instagram about being a cheerleader or being a drill sergeant, and I said neither one of those is correct. They're both wrong. Being the boot camp drill sergeant, that only works in very hilarious situations, maybe like the Army or something like that. But for terms of a coaching relationship, no, it doesn't. It being nothing but a cheerleader. So even when you screw up, it's okay. Like it's okay. And then not getting to the bottom of it or overemphasizing everything. Like as in you ate a piece of broccoli, that's a good thing. And just cheerleader without talking about anything when there's a screw up. I don't think that's right either. And both of those situations really get to me.
Yeah, it goes back to logical, whole thinking. I mean, what's the job of a coach is to help solve problems and figure out how to
not create more.
Right. So if something like that does happen, so if somebody tells me they feel like crap, or if somebody tells me your other example, like not adhering to the plan, my first reaction is not going to be you're weak and pathetic and yell at them. My first reaction is going to be like, all right, well, was there a trigger, or is this just a fluke, or kind of maybe what happened? Is this something that we need to correct? Was this like a one-time thing? I mean, just trying to just feel it out and then come up with a solution.
That's it.
That's the whole point. It's not to scold you. And plus we're, working with people that are adults. I don't need to reprimand them. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not sometimes the coaches definitely care way more than the clients. Unfortunately, it shouldn't be like that, but It does end up like that sometimes. But again, I know I've had situations with newer clients that maybe had those experiences with previous coaches, and they're afraid to tell me anything. I'm like, look, I'm not going to get mad at you. That's at the end of the day. First off, it's about you. You could be upset with yourself, if anything. It's about making yourself happy. And secondly, I'm going to help you find a solution so we can make sure it doesn't happen again, or fix whatever it is that's causing it, or, whatever. But if you don't tell me anything, I can't help you. And at the same time, if I just yell at you and tell you you're weak, all that's going to do is, well, it's probably going to make you do it again.
Yep.
Because you're just going to be, emotionally a wreck, and it's going to happen again. I mean, when's the last time that somebody with disordered eating patterns, you screamed at them and told them they were weak? How often does that work?
I show you a case where it does. Let me see. Yep.
Not at all.
Oh man.
So yeah, dude, that one drives me nuts. So she had told me that, and I told her, I said, unfortunately, I'm not all that surprised. But the crazy thing was, what was a little more alarming about this one than some of the other ones was the symptoms that she was having were pretty extreme. And I'm like, wow, I cannot believe that he just wrote that off as nothing. Yeah. You can't even hardly make it through a day.
Yeah, those are the people that just shouldn't be coaching, in my very firm opinion. They just shouldn't be coaching.
And what was really sad, what was really sad about that is she goes, I know, I know that there are a lot of other people on that same team, if you want to call it that, that are experiencing that, and they just haven't come to that realization yet.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and unfortunately that kind of stuff happens. But don't be you as the consumer, you have to still be aware of these things and at least you know pay some attention to it. You can't just be blind to
Sure.
everything.
All right. I think I've got another one here.
Let's hear it.
So it would be, especially if it's my clients when they're in the gym, but I will say underqualified people going up to other people in the gym that don't know each other, even if in trying to correct their technique. Oh man, that one I can't stand it. I can't stand it. You have I know it's going to happen to everybody. Apparently, I would not be willing to doubt at some point that it will happen to you. Is that someone will come up to you, especially if you're new to a gym or something like that, someone that might be that person or that guy or that girl that thinks they know it all, and they're going to go up and they're going to try to help you. One of the best quotes that I think I've heard is unsolicited advice is never adhered, and definitely true when it comes to this stuff. Like you go up to someone, they're doing a shoulder press or whatever, and you don't feel that they're doing it correctly. Now, outside of you being very, very educated on the subject, and even if you are very educated on the subject, it's probably not going to be welcomed very well. And if it is welcomed very well, do you know what you're talking about? But the amount of times that I've had people say, yeah, apparently the way that you were telling me to do this, some person at the gym told me that it was not wrong. It's one of those flip the desk things. Like, are you kidding me? And yeah, it's just because then it can drive the progress in the wrong way, or it could drive you to injury, and it also drive Marty crazy. So, but yeah, that's definitely something I that really gets to me as well.
So let's add to that. And how about that's because that's at the gym. So how about online when somebody is being coached by someone and then there's someone trying to give them advice or tell them what they're doing is probably wrong,
especially if they didn't ask for it.
Right.
Like they're not putting up a video saying, hey, what's my squat look like? They're saying
right.
Oh man.
Right. They're giving them advice on their nutrition or whatever it is. I had a client like that recently, and that shit happens all the time.
All the time. Absolutely all the time.
I had a client, and luckily this guy is he's a pretty grounded guy. He's a pretty smart guy, and he realized it, and he'll be the first one to tell you that he is not super educated on any of this stuff, but he knew he was going to the gym and he was getting good results, and everything was going well. And he was just kind of a case where he's a very, very muscular guy, but he just doesn't need to eat very much. Okay. So it was an odd situation where it would maybe look like he was under eating, but that was his body. And he, all these people were telling him how he wasn't eating enough, blah, blah, blah. But he just it was hilarious because he just kept getting better and better and better. Mm-hmm. He's like, you guys do realize I have a coach and I pay that person. So please don't, talk to me.
Yeah, if I wanted your opinion, I'd be asking about your opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
Essentially that's what he told him. And I just thought it was kind of funny. But yeah, that stuff happens all the time, whether it's publicly or drop it in the old DMs,
Well, so that's where I'm going to go, is that what I also can't stand is client poaching from other coaches. Holy shit. And talk about a really damn bad part of this industry is just that people going after either whether it's a prize pony, whether it's like let's say you have a first place champion, Austin, and I'm going after them and they say, hey, I can make you even better because I want that fame for myself. Or even just flat out saying, hey, he's wrong, he's a piece of crap, coach with me just because so I want the financial aspect from it. Like that happens way too much. And I can very firmly say I've never done it. And I'm very proud of myself for never, ever having done that. But it's something that you will never get rid of fully. But I also, if any potential other coaches are listening to that, if you have clients that do end up going away and saying, yeah, that Austin is a piece of crap, or that Marty is a piece of piece of whatever, and they go with them, you don't want them as a client anyway, because that's how fickle and flip floppy they are. But that is some of the worst stuff in here. There was a couple people that would literally be the champions, whoever would come in first place or second place or third place at the bodybuilding shows here locally. There would be one of the coaches would be waiting for them as soon as they got off stage to say, hey, just to let you know, you did really good, but if you want to take it to the next level, here's my name and number. And it happened, it was a very shitbag coaching marketing for a very long time here, until finally it got caught. People started catching on that that's exactly what this person was doing. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that there's actually a couple people locally that are kind of notorious for that, like handing out business cards backstage and shit to people.
That's what I mean. And like, come on, right?
It's funny. And hey, I kind of this I try to okay, so I wanted to look at it from a different perspective, and I thought, well, what do a lot of other businesses do? So if there is 2 car dealerships in the same town,
mm-hmm.
do they say Bob's car lot and Jim's car lot? Does Bob say that, yeah, Jim's car lot sucks, come shop at Bob's?
Sure.
I'm thinking, no, not really. That's not typically how they market. They will compete, but they may compete like lowest prices guaranteed, or
sure,
things like that. It's a little more subtle. They're not going to go into Bob's car lot and give business cards out when the people are already in Bob's car lot.
Yeah, and if they are doing that just think about how terrible that looks upon them.
Right. You're already at someone's car lot. The other competitor is not entering the property and handing out cards like this is like people on day of show and shit. It's
mm-hmm.
and they do it too because people are emotionally vulnerable on day of show, because their adrenaline's up and yada yada yada. And maybe even it's a pretty good client that maybe had kind of an off day, and they see that, they're like, oh yeah, I could get them.
Yeah.
Hey, you have all the potential to win next time. I can help you. and whatever. And in fact, they literally have no idea what transpired before the show.
Of course not.
No. So yeah, like, advice that's not asked for, just leave it alone. Don't do that. It looks so terrible, and it's the same as, and I still see this some. Maybe it's just because I don't follow certain people anymore, and I'm sure it probably still happens, but there used to be just so much like directly just calling people out all the time, in order to not calling them out so much to point something out, but calling them out to market themselves.
Yeah.
As like a direct marketing tool, just bashing other people.
It was bad for a bit there, but I'm with you. Yeah. It's not happening as much, or maybe I'm not following it either, Austin. Yeah, keep going.
Right. So yeah, and like I said, yeah, it could just be the people. I don't pay attention to people that much, and I just tend to scroll past. But yeah, it was a lot worse. But that's a terrible marketing tool, by the way. Saying that Coach X sucks and you're Coach Y and you're better or whatever, that's just dumb. Don't do that. You look like a complete moron. And secondly,
you really do.
Oh, it looks so dumb. And what's crazy to me? I don't know what is crazier to me, the people that market that way, or the fact that clients actually just go to those people still.
What I just say? I said, if those clients, oh my God, man! I said, if those clients really do go and they start believing that's, let them go. Especially if they can't say anything bad about you, or if you've given, what's even better is if you've given them results, or you've gotten them a top 5, a third place, a first place, and overall, and they're like, yeah, you know what? That was some pretty bad coaching. Like, are you kidding me? Like, yeah. It's happened few and far between with myself, but it has happened, and just, I'm not sorry to see them go. It's one of those, like we talked about that too. Like, I don't need the paycheck. That's cool, man. No problem. You can, and I'm not going to jump on that, especially if they say, hey, what do you think about that? Or what do you think about what this coach says? I'm not thinking about anything. Only like publicly, you're not going to get any opinions out of me. Like I will talk to people such as yourself, a couple of other of my very close friends that could potentially be coaches as well. And that's about it. I'm going to, if anything, I will attack a coach's coaching method or their practice. I will never attack them, because that is not only looks foolish on me, but that's again, that's just terrible. Like if you are getting clients from coach bashing, then that's your form of marketing, man. You are not going to be hanging around this area, this arena a long time.
Yeah, it's it, and there's a lot of there's like a lot of really small subcategories to that too. Like
Sure.
when people have a coach and they ask another coach for advice, right?
Sure.
And that other coach takes advantage of that. They see that as a situation where they can kind of dog on the other person and maybe make themselves look good and gain a
Yep.
client. And as tempting as that might be, it's always going to look better to just be honest and maybe not say much at all.
That's what I do. I'll say, A, have you asked your coach first? B, I'm
Right.
not the person you should be asking here about that, because no, and then that's work for me. And then in the long run, here, like, especially if you aren't trying to dive in, swoop, and steal them as a client, why on earth would you be wanting to help another coach win potentially? I know, like be the white knight and help everybody out, but then what if that coach is just that crappy and now they're going to get the accolades that no, see, I can't do it.
I think about a lot now because I've actually seen that happen where there's been several people that I've given advice to that were in like a really rough situation. I just kind of felt bad for them. And,
Yep, I've done that, of course. Yep.
and then they come out on top on the other side. It works for them or whatever, and they solve the problem. And then I don't hear a peep about it. And I wasn't asking for a thanks. That's
Yep.
not that wasn't my intention. But when I see that
The
their
thanks is
coach
going
like
somewhere
posts
else.
about them, yeah, their coach is posting about them and saying how good they're doing and this and that. And I'm thinking, shit, I
You
literally helped.
son of a bitch.
Yeah. And, and so, yeah, you got to think about that. You got to think about that kind of stuff too. You can't help everyone, and sometimes you shouldn't. So
Oh yeah, because it can be to your detriment. I'm with you on that.
it's a tough one. That's a tough one even for me, but I always just err on the side of caution and just ask them, aren't you paying someone to help with
Yeah.
this?
Yeah, that's right.
Isn't
Yeah.
that the point? Said, you can pay me. I'll do a consult with you, but you need to ask them first just to make sure. I've done a couple of those, but
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
fine. That's like an agreed on type of situation.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So another, it's only happened a couple times, and especially in my younger years of coaching, this kind of pissed me off, and now it doesn't anymore. But anyone that's newer into it will empathize with this. Is the you see the and I understand why, but it's when people say, I don't care what happens today. This is show day. I don't care what happens today. I beat myself. I did really good. I'm really happy with this. And as soon as they get the placing, it's like, F this, F everything, especially F my coach. Screw this. I was supposed to come in first place. The world is over. So everything that they said 4 hours ago is now completely different. It doesn't necessarily grind my gears, but it used to, especially if they would blame me and say everything's so nice and such great things about me, and then the day after the show say terrible things about me. Like this actually hasn't happened very often, but it's been hilarious and comedic when it does, especially when they make it public, because you can see like a post on social media 3 days ago about how wonderful the person is, or myself as an example, and then all of a sudden now they won't necessarily like, oh, I've seen it where they flat out will say someone does suck. I haven't had any Marty sucks as my name posted personally in the post, but inadvertently you'll see it, like as in like, yeah, so looking back, my coach really didn't know what he was doing, and blah blah blah, and this would have been, and it's funny because you will see it's either it's usually along the lines of where there was an actual stack class and there was 20 competitors that were just dynamite, and as the person came in seventh where they deserve seventh, there was 6 other people that were way better than them, and now they're mad because they really were going out for that first place trophy and they really were competitive and not just doing it for themselves, and not we're impressed with how they look and everything else, and just it's just that's something I've always it's transitioned from grinding my gears into now finding it kind of humorous and a little bit sad, we'll say. I was going to say pathetic, but that's a little bit too aggressive.
How about how about the ones that they have a bad experience, and sometimes they are legitimately bad things, like they have a um, develop some kind of bad relationship with food or whatever it
Sure.
might be, and then they blame bodybuilding, the inanimate object that is
Oh
not
yeah.
a thing, that didn't cause them to actually do anything. It's bodybuilding has no power. It's not, well, it does, I guess, but it's, you know what I
I
mean?
know what
It's
you're
like,
saying. Yep.
I'm done with bodybuilding, and that's fine. If you had a bad experience and you want to tell people about it and warn them, that's okay. But I think it's kind of ironic when the ones that say it's so bad, and if you,
No, that one does piss me off.
the
That one
ones
does
that
piss me
say
off.
if you
Yep.
do it, you're stupid.
You're stupid. Yeah. Like, and
You're
like,
stupid.
especially if people like that did it for 15, 20 years and now they've had a bad experience, or they took the wrong type of supplement, or they hired the wrong coach, or they didn't get the right outcome, and now they hate it, everything that they used to love for the last 15, 20 years. That grinds my gears.
Yeah, it's stupid, Marty. If you are a bodybuilder, you're stupid,
You're
and
stupid. You're just stupid.
it's,
God.
guess what? There are a lot of stupid things you could do potentially, but
Yeah.
it's still it's still your choice. I mean, there's a lot of hobbies or sports or whatever you want to call it that are very extreme out there.
Of
Tons,
course.
tons of them. So like for example, I like I like motorsports, like motocross and
Yep.
like car
Oh,
stuff, like
want to
car
talk? Want to
stuff.
talk about some dangerous stuff, right?
Like yeah, or car stuff or things like I know a few people that are really into cars and that's their hobby. Dude, the amount of the amount of money that they spend
Oh my
and
gosh, is
and and the stuff that
astronomical.
they do, and it's like, oh, could you imagine them like so could you imagine them spending all their money and ruining their livelihood because they spent all their money and then saying cars are stupid and that it's all cars' fault?
It's all cars' fault. The
Like,
cars made me do it. The
and like,
cars made.
what are you talking about? So it's but yeah, it is. It's if I just hope that people know what they're getting into, but unfortunately, most of the time they don't, and
Yeah. No,
sometimes
that's
it's
good
too
enough.
late. But you could always listen to the Mind Body broadcast, and there's plenty of informational
Absolutely
stuff.
shameless self promotion.
But
Yeah.
yeah, because I just saw that one recently, and I hadn't seen it in a while because I used to see it all the time. It was kind of around, if
Yep.
you remember, like when the metabolic damage and all those things
Sure
were
thing.
coming
Yes.
out,
Was starting to become popular.
yeah,
Yep.
and people were really speaking out about like eating disorders and things like that. And there was kind of this wave of people saying that bodybuilders are stupid,
Yep.
and
Yep.
like, oh, that's an interesting take.
Yep.
I, and or blaming or telling people that bodybuild are stupid or whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's a really interesting perspective. But oh man, there's there's some things I could probably say that I'm not
Yep.
going to.
No, that's gonna say err on that side of caution, Austin. We're not going too far off the rails.
We won't go too far into it. I don't
Yeah.
want to call anyone out directly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, those were some good ones in terms of marketing stuff. A lot of that was actually marketing. How
Sure.
not
I
to
bet.
market yourself.
Oh, it definitely was. It definitely was. Yeah, pick something that like that you barely have any evidence against, and or create something like that, like muscle confusion or something like that. Just yeah, no, don't do it. Jeez, that's good.
Um, stick. And the one last thing I'll say, and this just because I've seen this one a lot, and this has helped me a lot. It is hard. Helped me a lot with like my content and stuff is don't engage with people if you think that there's any small possibility that it will turn out badly. And what I mean by that is if you're somebody that wants to put out some kind of wants to make posts or videos or whatever it might be, stick to putting out your own stuff. Don't
Oh yeah.
just stay away from commenting on other people's stuff and debating and this and that. And maybe I'm just super passive, but I'm going to tell you that it is such a freaking headache. It is such a headache. And some people like that. Some people thrive on that. But again, that's it kind of makes you look ridiculous. If nobody wins an internet argument, for one, nobody
Exactly.
ever
Yep.
in the history of mankind. And secondly, it's just not a good look. So just stick to your own stuff. And because I had one of the guys that was doing like my mentorship thing. He said, I asked him, I was like, well, what do you do for any kind of content? Because he's a newer coach. I told him, I said, you got to put stuff out there initially because people have to see you, at least at first. And he's like, well, I get in a lot of these Facebook groups and I comment on all this stuff. And I'm like, well, how does that work for you? And he's like, well, normally not very well because everyone just argues and sometimes people try to make me look silly. And like, well, don't engage.
There's a difference between going in and helping out. There's a very big difference between going in and then tearing something apart too.
Yeah.
Like going in, like as in you're like someone puts up something, you say, no, that's stupid. Oh my gosh. You want to talk about, especially if you are that coach, that's career suicide right there.
I'd like to say it's career suicide, but unfortunately I know some people that have like these horrendous reputation for doing that kind of stuff. And
I'm saying someone's starting out, Austin. Someone's trying to build up their coaching and they're going in. All they do is just tear apart everyone's. That's not what to do.
Yeah. But
yeah, no, that's it too. I'm with you on that one. That one's silly too. Don't engage unless you know enough to throw your hat in that arena and you're really good at it. And you're like, if someone's being just like completely destructive on it, like as in someone saying, take this ridiculous amount of this steroid and you're going to jump in there and say, maybe not. And you really feel passionate about it. If not, don't engage. I'm with you on that one entirely, Austin. Don't engage. It's not, is it worth your time? Yep.
I never engage anymore because I just don't have the mental energy for it.
No, I exactly. Like going on some of the old bodybuilding.com stuff when I was in like 2002, 2005 and all that stuff, that used to give me such a goddamn headache.
Yeah, I'm thinking, oh man, cortisol.
Yeah,
cortisol.
Exactly.
Here it comes.
I'm losing my anabolism right now.
Yeah, you guys are ruining my gains.
All right, wicked. Well, that sums it up pretty damn good. So see what grinds our gears here. So from Austin and Marty here at the Mind Body Broadcast, we'll catch you next time.